Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Reset, Taliesin and Evitel's wondrous wisdom show in a week where, at last, it is time for Dragonflight. I am writing this script the night before the new expansion launches, and frankly, it feels like Christmas. And so today, for this episode, what do you even say? What news is even worthy to report on the day of a new expansion launch? Ooh, I know, how about a get ready for Dragonflight guide, okay? You ready? Clean out your bags, drop all your old quests. That's literally all you've got time to do, especially if you are watching this after the expansion has gone live, which you probably are. So this is a strange episode, yeah? It's a bit like the last day of term where no one's doing any work and you're all allowed to bring in games. The rich kid always brings in his Mega Drive, it always breaks. I've bought in Dragonflight, obviously, because it's the Dragonflight launch. So in this episode, we are going to be doing some good end of term stuff. I'm going to be deciding on my 4 main classes for the expansion, one each from heals, tank, ranged, and melee DPS. But also, we're going to be taking a quick look at the 2 cinematics that came out with the final phase of pre-patch, because I think they tell us a whole lot about the entire shape of the Dragonflight patch cycle, probably. I think it's a fairly good shout based on the evidence. But first, I want to say a quick word about Dragonflight itself, because for the last months since the alpha launched, and especially the last couple of weeks, the one question that I've been asked most as a creator in the comments and emails and stream chats is, of course, is Dragonflight any good? Many people really loved Shadowlands, loads of people thought it was okay, but I think it's fair to say that the community as a whole saw it as a bit of a disappointment, for various reasons, some very nuanced that we're not going to go into here because this is a Dragonflight video, but lots of players feel very wary about investing too much hope or hype or excitement into the new expansion, and you can't blame them. Blizzard know that all too well themselves, which is why all of the Dragonflight advertising is based around the message of coming back to Azeroth, but also to old favorite systems like Talent Trees and Grizzly Hills vibes, and just the game and community itself. And obviously, an expansion is more than an opening patch, isn't it? It's 2 years of content updates beyond that. If we judged every expansion by the launch content, every new WoW is a banger, and Warlords of Draenor is a stone cold classic. So whatever I think of Dragonflight as a game right now, I can't say if it will be a good or bad expansion, because so much depends on, as I think we've all learned in the last few years, patch cadence in particular. What I can say is this: Dragonflight in this opening patch is brilliant, obviously. As usual, the Dragon Isles are stunning in a way that is difficult to describe because it manages to be a completely new continent, but also feel incredibly familiar. Honestly, I have felt more nostalgia and old school vibes exploring the Onaran Plains and the Azure Span on beta than I did playing Wrath of the Lich King Classic. For real, Dragonflight presses WoW buttons I didn't even know I had. If you've ever liked WoW in any way, Dragonflight is going to be worth a month or 2 of your time. That I can pretty much promise. That is usually always the case, but there is a little bit more to it than that. I'm going to commit to something here, and I'm going to go as far as to say I think there's something unusually special about Dragonflight. And if you want, you can dismiss this as someone who gets too excited about WoW getting too excited about WoW. That's fair, honestly, but I have thought about this a lot. I can't tell you Dragonflight will be a good expansion. No one knows that yet, but I can tell you that right now, I would be surprised if it doesn't end up being a very good expansion. I would go as far as to say I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up going down as one of the all-time great expansions. And before you write that comment, hear me out, okay? Because not just how good the game feels to play right now, it's that in my opinion, Blizzard have earned the right to be believed about their changing gameplay philosophy. The one that they've been talking about since the dark days of 9.1, and which we saw the first real moves towards in 9.15, and then more so in 9.2 and 9.25, and now even more so in Dragonflight. And that is the way that the game respects your time and opens up so much so quickly. And I think the best, most obvious example of that is Dragonriding, because I can guarantee you that when it was announced, none of you watching this video thought that you'd be able to level up Dragonriding completely from day one, and that progress would be completely account-wide, and that it would be such an incredible upgrade to normal flying from the very start of the expansion. Be honest, we all assumed, me included, that they would drip feed Dragonriding progress over like the first 6 weeks of the patch somehow, if we were lucky. Like, maybe a few new upgrade glyphs would appear every week, or new ones would unlock with some horrendous reputation. And that was a fair assumption, because in Shadowlands or BFA, or even lovely cuddly Legion, that is exactly what would have happened. But no, it's just all there, like in a real life video game, and it's awesome. Oh, and actually, that is a genuine top tip that I have for Dragonflight, okay? This is your opening day guide. We're doing the guide now. I know a lot of you are gonna use Handy Notes or Tomcat or Wowhead just to look up where all those glyphs are, and then follow that add-on or guide and just go get each one instantly. And that is absolutely fine, okay? There is nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, we're gonna link a relevant Wowhead article in the description, probably, just to make it extra super easy for you. But I would genuinely recommend that you don't do that. Every glyph has an achievement attached to it, which will tell you which area of the map it can be found in. And I have to say that going around and gathering them all blind was a genuinely enjoyable couple of hours for me on beta, and also was legit very good training in the art of dragon riding too. Collecting those glyphs is content. It's really fun content in my opinion, but also it's content that you can literally only do once per account. Because dragon riding progress is so cool and account-wide that you literally cannot collect the glyphs again on any other character. So I think if you are planning to gather them all as soon as you're able, and I know I will, I think that you'll enjoy taking a couple of hours out and doing it guideless. Just consider it. That's the end of my Dragonflight Day 1 guide. Hope you enjoyed it. But anyway, that's 4 patches in a row now where Blizz have walked the walk on their new game design philosophy, with Dragonflight being the best example yet. And for me, Blizz have earned me at least believing that they're serious about it, which is amazing news, frankly, and bodes incredibly well for the expansion. So in closing, I have no reason to say this, because I will get 0 credit if I'm right and deserved mockery and scorn if I'm wrong. But as things stand, I think Dragonflight is unusually good. It feels like a genuine new age of World of Warcraft, both traditional in its approach and modern in its execution. It could easily end up being one of the all-time great expansions. I said it, fam, Dragonflight is brilliant, and I cannot wait for you to find out for yourselves. But obviously, for it to actually go down as an all-time great expansion, the rest of the game is going to have to be good too, unfortunately. So what about those future patches? Well, I think Blizzard has given us the most explicit indication yet of where the game is headed and what the shape of future content will look like, with the 2 new cinematics that went live with Phase 2 of the pre-patch. Oh, actually, we should totally mention the launch cinematic first too, because another thing I'll say about Dragonflight, it totally passes the vibe check for me, you know? Like, much more than Shadowlands, I am picking up what this expansion is putting down. It is so up my street, it might as well be sitting on the end of my bed, and the happy, glowy feels that this launch cinematic stirred in me were frankly matched only by the strange realization that I love dwarves now, and I want to marry this dwarf woman because she's amazing. Now you might be wondering why I didn't do a cinematic analysis of this one on the channel, and it's because I don't need to, because Blizzard put out an official audio description version of it.
A walrus-like Tuskar sits fishing in a boat on a misty ocean cove. In an idyllic grove with a stream, a Dreamweaver dragon lies resting underneath a willow tree as sunlight filters through the purple leaves, all 3 soaring through the sun-gilded clouds.
That's basically all my cinematic analysis is. Frankly, that lady does it better. I can't add anything to that. So this is joyous, it's fun, it's rocking that sweet spot Dragonflight vibe, but it also introduces us to Razageth, whose proper in-game introduction happens in the Drakthir starting zone, the Forbidden Reach, and in the first of these cinematics. And main takeaways from this one, Rathian gets hit in the face. Again, like, getting hit in the face in 1 cinematic is unfortunate. Getting hit in the face in 2 cinematics is beginning to feel like a bit of a trend, and it makes me think, what's Rathian going to get hit in the face with next? I think I'm going for a boat. I'm going to say a boat. Another takeaway, Rathian's rather obvious daddy issues and sincere desire to live up to what he feels Neltharion should have been had he not been corrupted by the old gods. Which is very touching really, but I'm still backing Daddy Sibelium for the leader of the Black Dragonflight because his rep gets you a sick cloth transmog that I really want. So yeah, sorry Rathers. Main takeaway though, Razageth is a baddie every inch as ridiculous as the jailer. Like, her voice is stupid and over the top, and she is pure, unadulterated pantomime baddie here. Like, she gives zero shits, but her pure commitment to the theatre of it all makes me like her a lot more than Zaval, which is probably also helped by how genuinely awesome she looks. This awkward, lumbering mass, like one of the T-Rex dogs from Elden Ring, but a weird mix of insectoid and bird-like with this... I don't know, what would you call it, uncredited audio description lady?
Her beak jaws.
Yes, exactly that. That's definitely what I was thinking. She is very cool, and her awesome gathering a huge storm with her wings thing, which you just know is definitely going to be the thing that dicks you and your entire raid up in the final boss encounter of Vault of the Incarnates. Ooh, and I'm glad you mentioned Vault of the Incarnates, actually, because that leads us onto the whole point of this section. Oh, we got there, good. Which is the future patches of Dragonflight. Because in the next cinematic that Khadgar presents you with in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, Kalecgos, I meant Kalecgos, okay, sorry. Anyway, Anduin goes to Khadgar to tell him what went down. Khadgar, who is so busy reading every single book in Karazhan very slowly that he hasn't even had time to fix that window that got smashed by the Dreadlord in Legion. And he's a wizard, okay? He could literally magic it back together anytime he likes. That shows how busy he is. Or actually, maybe he keeps it in that state as a reminder to himself of just how close he came to succumbing to that Dreadlord's temptation. I think that's probably more likely. But in flashback, we see the remaining aspects and Rathian discussing the primal incarnates, how they hate the Titans and all the dragons that are stained by the Titan influence. But it's been a while since that was a huge issue, because after a huge war, the aspects finally managed to imprison them in the Vault of the Incarnates. All except Raszageth, who we know was yeeted into her Forbidden Reach prison by Deathwing's new old god chums. But there's just this one line in this cinematic that makes you go, huh.
We haven't the strength to stop them. And if Iridikron's hunger is unleashed...
The obvious question is, who is Iridikron? Because in this entire equation, he seems to be the one that scares Nosdormu and Alexstrasza the most. It's a question that we do have an answer to. If you look at the dungeon journal and the description of Raszageth's final boss fight, some of it happens on Iridikron's prison. Like, he features in this fight, and it has long been speculated that the Vault of the Incarnates raid would end with the Incarnates being freed. There's concept art and in-game models for them after all, suggesting that they will end up being a little bit more important than just the background scenery in the climactic fight of the first raid. And here's the thing, don't forget, Ian Hazzikostas said in an interview just after the reveal of Dragonflight that we would basically know who the final boss of the expansion is after the first raid. Raszageth releasing the Primal Incarnates to, and I quote, usher in the dark clouds of a new age would seem like the most straightforward thing that could happen in that case. But what does that mean for the future patches of WoW? Well, don't forget that even before this cinematic was launched, the smart money has been on there being some kind of underground zone or environment coming to Dragonflight in 10.1, mostly because of the secret file that was in the data for like a couple of days, but then removed very quickly because of its rather unfortunate spoilery name, and the dev note on it that said, rename this file, do not keep this name. So yeah, oops. And if the raid ends with the 3 remaining Primal Incarnates being released, and the next patch is themed around Iridikron's Earth element, then it's not a huge leap to imagine that this could indeed be the planned structure for the entire expansion. We go underground to defeat Iridikron in 10.1, then we get a 10.2 and a 10.3, which are themed around taking on Fyrak, the Fire Incarnate, and Viranoth, the Frozen Heart. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Tali, Iridikron is the most powerful of that lot, so it wouldn't make sense for him to be the first of the 3 that we take down, to which I say, good point, but I'd also ask, where does it say that Iridikron is the most powerful? True, Nosdormu seems very scared of the Earth Incarnate's hunger being unleashed, but honestly, that could just be basic foreshadowing rather than an indication that he's the most dangerous. Like, if the very next patch is going to be based around this guy, it makes sense that he's the one that we big up and mention first. Plus, and I don't want to be rude about this, but Nosdormu does appear to be a little bit stoned in this cinematic, and I'm not sure we should take any paranoia he has entirely seriously, you know? And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Okay, Tali, I buy that. But surely the last of the incarnates to fight is going to be Fyrak, the fire incarnate, because he's fire and that's badass. And honestly, yeah, you're probably right. But there's just this part of me that thinks Blizz might think that's very obvious too and switch it up for that sole reason. But also because Vyra means truth. And I don't know, I just feel like that might be hinting at something. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Taliesin, don't you think we'll end up teaming together with the incarnates to fight a real baddie like the old gods or Odin or something? After all, you've predicted that in the past, and don't they have a pretty good point? Isn't this a Shades of Grey kind of thing? And again, you could very well be right. And yes, I have said that, but no, I don't think that's gonna happen anymore. In his recent interview with Nobble, Steve Danusa was pretty clear that the incarnates are irredeemably evil. The typical killing puppies scenario that you see in Marvel, and in fact many other media a lot. The baddies may have a good point, or genuinely sympathetic grievance, which could make you be on their side. So instead, the writers make them believe that the only way to achieve their aims is to kill millions of puppies. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how worthy their cause is, they are just bad and need to be stopped. I think that's the case with these guys. I don't think there's any redemption or team up on the cards. If we do take a lesson from their point of view, I think it'll be in hindsight over their dead bodies like it was with the Forsworn. These dudes are going down. But I do think that would be an awesome structure for an expansion, honestly, ensuring a hugely varied thematic look and feel for each different major patch, with us pretty much knowing what the aim is all the way through, something that we haven't had in an expansion narrative since Legion. I can see it now. Ian announcing 10.1 after the raid cinematic has shown us the incarnates being released and saying, yeah, 10.1, we take on the Earth incarnate. 10.2 is fire. 10.3 is ice. This is the roadmap and the path. And I think that would be so healthy for the game. As a player, one of the most frustrating things about the narrative in the past couple of expansions has been the lack of signaling about what is coming next. Let me put it this way. The ending of 7.2 was brilliant, not just because it was a dramatic end to the patch arc, but also because it was a clear beginning of 7.2, with Argus appearing in the sky over Azeroth. Knowing that we would take on an incarnate per patch is pleasingly video gamey and gives that kind of focus. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Tali, what about Galakrond? And that is a fair point. Everyone thinks Galakrond is going to make an appearance in Dragonflight. The incarnates are specifically followers of Galakrond, so I guess they'd probably quite like to resurrect him. Another reason why Viranoth would make a good final incarnate, in my opinion. Galakrond's skeleton is currently under the ice of Northrend. And I would point out to you that the 4 incarnates represent 4 elemental forces in air or storm, earth, water, and fire. But there are 2 other elements on the WoW cosmology chart, spirit and decay. And I'm just saying, if this expansion were to go all the way to a 10.4, keeping the theme of each patch being based around an elemental force, Galakrond, who ate a bunch of dragons that would then come back as zombie dragons, like, he is clearly very connected to decay and could absolutely be the main antagonist of that patch, with maybe whoever represents spirit, like, I don't know, someone that's spent a lot of time in the Shadowlands recently and is apparently set for a Dragonflight return, popping up to give us a helping hand as well, complete the set. Pure, very silly speculation, obviously, but it's the last day of term, okay? We are recording this video now, and Dragonflight hasn't launched, but by the time most people are watching this video, Dragonflight will have launched.
It would have launched ages ago, because people won't be watching videos for the next, month.
Are you kidding me?
People will just be like...
No. Everyone is going to be in-game. They're going to have videos on, on the site, and streams on, getting their fell drakes. Don't forget to watch every stream on the morning of the 29th, or maybe afternoon of the 29th, well, whatever, to get your fell drake.
Yeah.
And also me from Dragon Castle. Oh, it's very exciting.
Okay, Tali, so the big question... What is your main going to be?
Oh yeah, we put that in the title, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I guess we should definitely talk about... Well, first of all, what's your main going to be?
My Drakthir Evoker, obviously.
That's a change. You say that like it's like a done deal, but you literally changed main. What was the first ever class you ever played in World of Warcraft?
Hunter.
And what was like the... and that was in Cataclysm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what did you play in Mists of Pandaria?
I Hunter.
And what did you play in Wars of Draenor?
Also, I didn't.
It's a trick question.
Play mod.
What did you play in Legion?
my hunter.
What did you
Obviously,
play
have you seen
in
the class
the
hall
epic?
in
What do
the
you-
quest? Okay, hunter. It's been hunter across the
So
board.
it's a big deal.
Of course it is.
Your thing.
I feel like Drakthir is a natural progression from hunters who want to play dragons.
Yeah.
We've got some pew abilities.
The male class.
Exactly. I get my male transmog.
Yeah.
Great, which I still get to use that I've already collected. So yeah, that's me. I'm really excited. I mean, that's, obvious. But big question, what are you doing?
Well, okay, so like for any given expansion, I try and have like 4 mains essentially.
Okay.
So I have like my main, but then I have 3 other mains to kind of fill over the
Side
other gaps.
main.
Yeah, exactly. So I like to have a healer, a tank, like a ranged, and a melee DPS.
Nice. These are not alts. These are all mains.
Well, they're like so one is my main, and then the other 3 are like my main alts. And I'll play all the other classes as well, but those 3 are the ones that are main. So like healer is my main, and healer, as always, is going to be Discipline Priest.
Good.
People ask me if I wanted to be like an evoker healer and stuff like that.
Mate,
It's
no,
like,
mate.
dude, I'm a bad enough healer as it is. I can't be mucking around with this new unexplored spec. I need a class where there are experts. That have been experts for years,
Yeah.
and they can tell me what to do. And when I've been playing it for years, I can kind of make those decisions by myself and see the things that I need to be looking for.
Exactly.
And know. And also, more important than that, because I actually would change the flavor of the month, that. More important than that, Discipline Priest is banging. It's really fun.
Is it good?
It's super fun.
Does it feel good?
Like, it's got a lot more tools in dungeons than it had in previous expansions. So I love Discipline Priest ever since the Legion rework, the whole damaging to do atonement healing through damage and things like that. And it looks to have increased its kind of spikiness, which is its niche in raid. Like, you put out a load of atonements and you get a big spike. So like, as long as you prepped it right, you can press a button and like the whole raid just gets a big old chunk of healing. It looks like it's still going to do that. Return of the Light's Wrath is really awesome for that as well, from Legion. But the amount of tools it's got in dungeons, it's looking really nice.
Sweet.
It's looking really fun actually, and
great.
I've had a lot of fun with it in dungeons. And I didn't do so many dungeons last expansion, but and the healers are all really well tuned anyway, to be honest, like within each other. There's a best healer for dungeons, there's like a worst healer for dungeons, but they're still pretty, they're going to be pretty close, and same with raid as well. And this always has like a niche for raid because of absorbs and things like that.
And let's face it, you cannot abandon Mivanwi.
No,
she is like your OG
exactly.
character. You
So
can't possibly leave her.
It's taking like a lot of what has been added to the class in the last couple of expansions, but also there's like some mist stuff going on where you're just randomly putting out kind of passively like barrier shields on people as well. Which is, I think it'll be really fun. So that's my main. That's my healer main, which means I've got a tank, I've got a melee and a ranged. Now, my healer main is a cloth. It would be nice if I could do it. I'm not going to play a class I don't want to play just for it, but it would be nice if I could like cover leather, plate, and mail as well within these choices, right? That would be really nice. So, I think with that in mind, I'm thinking my ranged is going to be Devastation Evoker.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play it. Like, I was tempted to go maybe Shaman.
Right.
I think I will also be playing a lot of Demonology Warlock, because Demonology Warlocks are OP anyway, but Demonology Warlock for the last couple of expansions has been absolutely banging.
I'm so annoyed with warlocks. Like, we've got a resident warlock in our guild who comes back like once every 2 years, logs into a raid, destroys everyone, and leaves. Yeah. And like, that's it. So
and it's demons for days with Demonology Warlock at the moment as well. It's like so good.
Nice.
So I will probably end up playing a lot of Demonology Warlock as well.
Okay.
But my main range DPS, I want to be the Evoker.
Yay.
That's male, you see.
Yeah.
So, and that's what won it out really over like, because I was like, I've already got a clothy.
Yeah.
Right. So Evoker wears male. It's going to allow me to collect more armor, even though I won't see it on the Evoker. It's nice to have, right? It'll be in the collection.
And you have to play a Drakthir in this expansion.
Yeah,
you must.
You know what? Yeah, I feel like it'd be weird if I didn't.
Exactly.
So
just like everyone played a Demon Hunter in Legion.
Exactly.
You have to. You got to do it.
So yeah, and maybe I'll get bored of it, and maybe I will swap to Demonology Warlock. But that's my plan at the moment. So okay, that's cool. It's fun. It's a different play style to anything else that's in the game, really. So I think that's going to help, and that's going to be really, because even though my priest is my healer main, I spend a lot of time questing in DPS specs, so I kind of got like 2 range DPS anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. So that's ranged and healer. For tank, no. For melee,
Okay.
I was really tempted by Survival Hunter.
Wow.
Okay, so when I'm looking at my main alts, all right, I don't care if they have good numbers or not,
Right.
okay? All I care about is that they play well, and I enjoy the rotation. And for my main alts, what I'm really looking for, honestly, is that they play well and they're fun in dungeons.
Okay.
Because I tend to go into dungeons with my alts more than I go into raids, right?
Makes sense, yeah.
And Survival Hunter has a really, really fun dungeon rotation.
Really?
Like, there's always a button to press. It feels really good. It feels like it just feels good, and again, it's a bit different from anything else in the game.
Yeah.
So it's quick. All the melee specs in Dragonflight are really fast.
Right.
They've all been sped up a lot. Even Unholy, which is another one that I was really genuinely looking at.
Wow. Okay.
It's basically gone from a resource management spec to a priority spec, right? And it's just fast. All of them are.
Nice.
I was tempted by Warrior, because Fury is always brilliant and Arms gives you like an alternative. But in the end, the armor type won out, and I went for Outlaw Rogue.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Outlaw Rogue.
Okay.
Outlaw Rogue is absolutely ridiculous.
Unexpected.
So there's a number of reasons, okay? So one, the class is fun. It's
Okay.
like super fun, particularly in dungeons. I think it's like the best iteration of new Outlaw Rogue with rolling the dice and getting the buffs, It's probably the fastest spec in the game right now in terms of button presses. Like you have to be completely on it and just pressing, and it's a bit spammy because of that as well.
You don't say.
It's like the corporal tunnel syndrome.
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
It's like carpal tunnel
Corporate
syndrome.
punishment syndrome.
Yeah, totally. Spec. But it is kind of wild.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
And that speed is there when you're like questing and stuff as well.
Okay,
And in dungeon, it does insane damage, and it's like incredibly fast. It's got a ton of utility because it's a rogue. And the thing is, I've never really played a rogue much in an expansion.
Okay.
Like since Legion, I've played every spec, and I always try and keep on top of them and stuff like that. But rogue is one of those ones that, a bit like druid, really, it's always just kind of been there, but I don't touch it so much. So the idea of like playing a rogue all the way through the expansion as one of my main
Cool.
builds,
Yeah.
actually would be a really different experience.
I did
as
not
well.
expect that from you.
No, well,
That's-
me
that's
neither.
It's quite
exactly.
interesting.
So,
yeah.
I've got all these roguey things that other people take for granted, and it's part of the game for them. But I'm like, this is amazing. Rogues can do so much. They make people invisible.
Yeah.
They make people not get hurt by AOE and stuff.
They're
Oh,
pretty
it's
cool.
so good. They've got like so much survivability and utility and stuff, and it's so cool. And also, like my outlaw rogue is an undead female, so she looks amazing.
Whoa.
And I've got her dressed all in like Kultiras
Of course
like
you do.
gear as well. So she's like an undead Kultiran who's like a pirate, and she's like, she's so cool. She's so cool. So it's really good, and they can use like axes or swords and stuff. So it kind of feels a bit like Fury with double-handed weapons,
Swinging
but a
stuff
bit
around.
more swashbuckling.
Okay.
And I'm completely down with that, and I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Okay, good
It is a
flavour.
bit spammy. I always say that Outlaw is really cool at the beginning of expansion, because it always is. But then I often get bored of it. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Unholy is there if I want something a bit deeper and more kind of complex.
There you go.
And what have you. And it will be there because my tank main is going to be Blood DK.
Ooh.
I kind of chose my tank last, and so it was going to be plate. So that ruled out monk or druid or demon hunter, because it could well have gone for demon hunter, because that's a really one just to like dick around with and play with. But I know Prot is super OP and really cool at the moment. I really like Ret. I like Rat, right? And so I like Protection Paladin as well, so I can play Ret and things like that. So a really super smooth kind of tank. But I did that in Shadowlands, so I fancied a change.
Okay.
And I was just going through them all, and I don't think Blood is very powerful at the moment. But I just like it, and I just like how it feels, and it's just got like some nice buttons, you know, it's got that nice survivability when you're out and doing solo stuff as well.
Yeah.
I know all tanks do, but particularly like Blood.
I mean, my only, like, my main reference to Blood DKs is in our raid. Like, there I am, just staying alive.
Yeah, forever. And ever, like, long after the raid is dead.
Long after
occasionally getting the kill. More likely just meaning it's like 20 minutes before we can try and pull again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But you want to do that.
Yeah, that's what I want to be. That's what I want to do. Yeah, so it's not a great choice for dungeons, I don't think. I think like other tanks are a much better choice. But I just like it. It just feels
and it's mechanically
good.
different, so it'll be fun for you.
Mechanically different, and it means that I've got Unholy there as well. If I want
there
to.
you go.
Unholy is an exquisite spec in Dragonflight too.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people will absolutely agree with a lot of my choices, apart from
raise a few eyebrows there.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
and I do. It's not really a change because I do like playing DK a lot. So I know, but there we are. So my Discipline Priest for my healer main and my main.
Nice.
The Evoker for my range DPS. The Outlaw Rogue for my melee, and
Cute.
and do you know what? Maybe it's because my melee DPS is like all kind of spinny and movie and like, but I wanted a tank that was very much like double-handed axe.
Yeah.
Because you've got to
Heavy.
use the double-handed like artifact mage tower axe. It has to be done. It's so but and I've got my Death Knight is a Draenei as well, which I think is the best race for a Draenei.
Male Draenei.
Male Draenei, huge. Just
So
like
big.
boom. So good. So like the animations are wicked. He feels incredibly chunky and satisfying. He is very cool. It's going to be very good.
Okay, I think you've made some good choices.
Yeah,
there.
I think so, and I'm looking forward to it. And obviously, I do play every spec as well because I think Enhancement Shaman is a brilliant spec in Dragonflight. I think like probably one of the best designed specs like ever in the game. I think it's so good, so clever what they've done with it. There's loads of really good. I haven't even touched Mage, you know, but Arcane is supposed to be really fun at the moment. I like how Ice is playing out with its charges and stuff.
What's the forecast for hunters? It's not great, is it?
Hey, survival's fun in dungeons.
That doesn't count as a hunter. BM or marksman?
Survival. The forecast for hunters is that their shade of green often is going to be changing to a slightly different shade of green.
No, right? That's
like,
what I mean. Like all hunters are just migrating to Evoker.
It's amazing how many hunters are changing to Evoker, like specifically.
Not just in our guild, because that always happens in our guild. But
like, hunter mains are often like incredibly loyal to their class, right? Like, hunter mains are hunters through and through. So it's wild to me to see that shade of green change.
Well, that's what I mean. I think it feels natural for a hunter to go to Evoker this time around because it's like you kind of have a pet. You are the pet. Fine. Like, you know, you have a creature. You are the creature. You've got some distance, some ranged attacks. Although the distance I'm still getting used to because it's not, you know, you can't pew from super far away. You get the satisfaction of being able to like come in close. I think it's drawing in some hunters.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's not such a useful kind of like do jobs spec in raid because you have to be in a bit closer than other range and stuff like that. In
terms of utility, I don't know.
As well. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. Again, another hunter thing, because we always get the jobs. Now it's like, oops, no jobs for you. No jobs for you.
Oh man. Well, that's always been the problem with survival as well. It's like, in theory, it brings lots of utility and it's really helpful, but like, obviously there's nothing it can do that a marksman or a beast mastery hunter can't do, except they can actually run around as well. Like they can actually move around the space in a way that, like, you know, they can't. Survivor can't. So anyway, so there's my mains. I'm really looking forward to it.
Cool beans.
Dragonflight, I've gone on about it a lot in this video already, but Dragonflight is going to be a legit brilliant expansion. I'm genuinely putting my money on that. I'm staking my reputation on it. It's going to be a very fun expansion.
Big words.
Definitely
Big
worth
man.
a month or two of your time at least.
Oh, I can't wait. Cannot wait.
I'm so excited. What is like your biggest kind of thing that you're looking forward to in Dragonflight at the moment?
Oh god, I mean, it's gonna be fun playing Evoker just for like a switch to do something fresh. I don't know, it just feels like a reset in terms of story and environment and like vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
It just feels like a bit of a change. And you know, having played through the pre-patch stuff, it just feels good. Khadgar's back, guys.
That's the secret, isn't it? That's the real reason.
I feel like things are at stake, but not in the way that made me feel like, you know, I'm in hell or whatever and I need to get out.
I mean, yeah, it was an interesting design choice. In hindsight,
I'll never
it
get
was
it
like,
right.
we're going to do
Looking
an
back on
expansion where, it's called World of Warcraft, and we created this luscious, amazing world for people to live in traditionally. So what we're going to do is, we're going to put people in hell. And we're going to keep them there for 8 months.
For a really, really long time.
We're going to
That's
keep
the
them
thing.
there for 8 months in hell. And then we're going to bring out another patch, like our first major patch. And that's going to be in hell as well.
Yeah.
And it was
With
like,
some other flavor, but it's still,
and then 8 months after that, maybe we'll let them go somewhere else. But like, we're going to keep you in hell for like 2 years almost.
So,
like
yeah.
for a year and a half.
I'm just ready for that gear change. Like just change of environment, change of vibe. You know, we've met Razageth, and she is a big bad, but also kind of goofy. I just like it.
So goofy.
I just
Have you
like...
heard her in the Drakfir starting zone?
Yeah.
Where she's like, "Oh, so pleased that you survived, so I can kill you." And shit like that. It's so
I
good.
love it. Like I
It's
say, like things are at stake, but I feel like I'm playing like an old school RPG.
So
like, it feels
why?
really
Okay,
good.
I've got a question for you. Right?
Okay.
Why is it fun when she's really goofy and
Mm-hmm.
like over the top pantomime evil? Why was it dumb and bad when the jailer was?
Because the jailer wasn't meant to be over the top goofy.
Okay.
The jailer was
Fair.
the
I
jailer,
agree.
right? Like, I hate to make the comparison, but like Thanos, like the jailer is meant to be like a very serious bad.
He's very stoic. and
Very
funny.
serious bad, and we are supposed to take him seriously.
true.
So, and you know, and even if he was supposed to be goofy, sometimes it didn't quite read correctly. So this is the thing. You look at Razageth and you're like, that's a very silly like lightning dragon thing. It's very goofy, but okay, it's gonna cause me some damage, so I need to take care of things. You know, so so I just feel like in the right headspace about Dragonflight. It
Awesome. You hit the
feels
nail on the head there.
really
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, that's absolutely it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, we've got to go and prepare for the launch. Got to get this video ready.
Yeah.
We will see you in Dragonflight
Oh, I
on
can't wait.
stream for drops and fun times. And we will obviously be streaming throughout the weeks, coming like, every day while we do Dragonflight stuff. More videos on their way with Dragonflight. You know how it goes, all right?
Oh, yeah.
Pop in every now and then, see if there's
We'll be
music.
here.
Pop in. Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be doing stuff. You know how it is. Hope you enjoyed the new wall that is coming on apace. You should see it. You should see it IRL. It's beautiful. It was that thing where we needed to create a wall that was good for the set, but also just nice to have in the office and like nice to live with.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's working out. And like
Super cozy vibes in here.
Next step, this wall is getting painted. The new sofa is arriving in December. It's getting custom made.
Custom made sofa. My chair is coming probably in the new year.
Yeah. Oh,
It's gonna be
no
probably
way.
it's gonna be an amazing shade of orange as well.
I know. I insisted. I was like, your chair's got to be orange to match my chair.
Herman Miller.
Yeah. Oh,
They never got back to me, but I took the bullet. I bit the bullet.
He was like,
no.
Well, we could give Evie a free chair, or we could just not reply to this email and she's
make
going to
her
buy
buy
it
one.
anyway. One option costs us £1,000, and she still gives us the same advertising anyway.
Yeah. I'm totally gonna love it up. I'm gonna take pictures of it every day, tweet about it. I'm gonna tag them and everything, and be like, "Love the chair. I bought it." Still
Well,
love
I'll
it.
set up
This is
your
not an ad.
I'll set up
I
your
love the
desk
chair.
anyway.
Thank
It'll be a
you.
nice setup to have. And,
Yeah.
we can stream if we get a moment together as well. But
Oh
in the
my
new
God, I
year,
can't wait.
when the youngest goes to daycare and stuff, I know it's very sad, but also does mean that we can spend more time together.
Exactly. I can get back to doing my work.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't wait.
And it'll be really good. So awesome, guys. Have fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy Dragonflight in
God.
these coming days. We
I'm
will see
ready.
you soon. We'll see you in game. Oh, I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
I'm excited for the new expansion. I'm excited that the old expansion is over. I'm always excited that the old
I know,
expansion is
I know,
over,
I know.
but more so than
I know.
usual this time.
God, I'm so ready.
Me too. From me, Taliesin.
And me, Evitel.
Until next time, cheerio.